A lot happened in the news today, so let's get into it. First up, the United States sanctioned Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel in latest move to pressure island's leadership. So they didn't sanction just him, they sanctioned his family. Now, they don't have many, if any, holdings in the United States, so this is probably largely symbolic, but it is yet another move towards other actions that the U.S. government is likely planning to take. If you recall, they did actually issue an arrest warrant for the prior president of Cuba, who is like 94 years old. And so I wouldn't be surprised if arrest warrants are coming for current government officials later down the road, as the U.S. government sets the stage similar to what they did in Venezuela. And despite President Trump's good faith efforts towards the IRGC to include Hezbollah in their negotiations for opening the Strait of Hormuz by stopping Israel from conducting attacks on Hezbollah, Hezbollah has decided to reject the truce as Israel continues Lebanon strikes, and those strikes only continue because Hezbollah keeps attacking. Despite all this, President Trump has come out and said that the talks with Hezbollah are still progressing, and this is very similar to when he says talks are progressing with the IRGC, and then a spokesperson from the IRGC, comes out and says, no, they're not. And that's exactly what has happened. Both Hezbollah and IRGC have come out and said there is zero progress with the United States or Israel. And while the Strait of Hormuz faces dueling blockades, it's actually not really closed. Now, this article is from May 30th, but it is talking about a continuous process that is unfolding where as many as 1,000 ships have trickled out of the Gulf since the start of the blockade. Some were pro-IRGC, but the vast majority have been neutral ships or pro-Western ships, and they have been guided under a U.S. Navy quietly, as many as 70 over this last weekend, or at least these last few days. And they are doing this by not only coordinating with the U.S. Navy, but turning off their transponders. And with the IRGC's limited detection capabilities, they are able to follow the coast of Oman and avoid detection and targeting by the IRGC. Keep in mind, when the IRGC basically closed the Strait of Hormuz, they basically turned these ships into hostages. And so we are quietly and slowly getting these hostages released from the hostage takers, which is the IRGC, over these many days and weeks for the purposes of our second phase. And that second phase will be an escalation of the demining operation that is currently underway. Trump has already alluded to this a couple times in his Q&As with the press, where he has talked about demining efforts are currently underway, but they are going to increase the more these ships are able to exit the Gulf under the cover of night and deception. On top of that, such nations as the United Kingdom and France have finally made official statements on supporting demining operations once the Operation Epic Fury has concluded, which technically it has. So as soon as they want to show up, it certainly would be nice. And in a rare joint statement by U.S. and European intelligence agencies, they are warning their employees and anybody with an active clearance that China is conducting massive espionage phishing activities by using official LinkedIn profiles and basically hiring them to do work, and that work eventually becomes of a confidential nature. It's a very slow process, but there have been official reports of service members and intelligence officials being successfully phished, or whatever term you want to use, to basically give over state secrets, and some have even been charged. So this is an official warning to everybody that has an active clearance to watch out for this type of phishing activity. And do you remember this story about a senior official in the CIA that was arrested for having 303 gold bars in his home worth $40 million? This story just gets stranger and stranger as the CIA puts senior officials on leave over this officer's arrest. Basically, his colleagues and people that worked with him that were aware of this situation are all put on administrative leave as an internal investigation is underway. So not only was David Rush's background completely fabricated almost entirely, but he also attained some of the highest levels of access in the CIA, and he was a part of one of the most sensitive programs, which was a nuclear submarine program that he was assigned to by Defense Secretary Steve Feinberg. Now, that was Deputy Defense Secretary, but he's not just the Deputy Defense Secretary. He's not just a billionaire worth $5 billion. He's also the CEO of Cerberus Management with Holdings. That company owns billions of dollars of assets all over the U.S., Europe, and Asia, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're a part of a larger network, if you know what I mean. The fact that this story is seeing daylight is extremely shocking to me because it is touching upon things that people just don't really know about, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And so it'll be very interesting to follow this story. I will be especially interested to see if David Rush ever sees a jury trial, or if he has a video professing that he is not suicidal. Just saying. I am That Intel Guy, and that is my news roundup for today. And there is so much more news out there that would take an entire hour to cover. Let me know what your thoughts are on the topics I did cover. Let me know in the comments if there are topics that you want me to cover. Some of you have already made mention of topics that you want me to post about, and those are forthcoming. I thank you very much for your likes, your follows, your shares. It means a lot, drives the algorithm, and I hope you're having a good day.